the normal country that we aspire to be.
Anat, thank you ever so much for joining us and providing us an insight there on the situation from an Israeli side and point of view. Of course, the death, destruction and despair being felt by both sides continues as negotiations also carry on. We will be across all of those developments from the Middle East as we get them. We move on now, and Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif called on Iran to apprehend those responsible for the killing of 8 Pakistani nationals in Mehrestan near the Pakistan-Iran border. The victims were from Pakistan's Punjab province and were shot after being bound by attackers. PM Shehbaz condemned the attack as a heinous act of terrorism and urged Iran to uncover the motives behind the assault. He also emphasised the growing threat of terrorism in the region and called for joint efforts to tackle extremism, particularly regarding terrorist groups operating from Afghanistan that have targeted Pakistan. The Pakistani government is collaborating with Iran to confirm the identities of the victims and facilitate their repatriation. Iran condemned the killings as inhumane and cowardly and pledged full cooperation in the investigation. Both countries acknowledged the importance of regional collaboration to combat terrorism and extremism. Well, joining us to discuss this situation is Berzin Wagmar, who is a Centre for Iranian Studies, School of Oriental and African Studies, joining us from London. Thank you very much for being here, Berzin. This situation, of course, a troubling one. Are you able to provide us a bit more insight on the current situation with extremism and terrorism, as this attack and killing has been labelled in the Pakistani-Irani region?
Depressingly enough, more of the same. You see, what happened today also, or rather on Saturday, when the said Pakistanis, all working class auto mechanics, car repairmen were killed, mirrors exactly what happened on 27th January 2024 too, when they were killed in Iran in Balochistan. They were also auto workers then too, poor expatriates who go from Pakistan to Iran to work. And then too, the pattern is similar in that they were targeted by what is the Baloch Liberation Army. But when I start my comments by saying depressingly the same at both ends, it is this what I wish to drive home, that Iran and Pakistan trade charges of terrorism, cross-border terrorism, but both are implicitly implicated in it, in that both mention renegade separatists, Baloch separatists, who find sanctuary in their respective Balochistans. Balochistan is the geographical area in question, and it is a namesake province in both countries straddling the Iranian-Pakistan border. And this said border, about approximately 909 kilometers, is porous and poorly manned, though Pakistan has made efforts in recent years to fence it. Be that as it may, almost, for instance, and this is just one salient fact, 35% of diesel consumed in Pakistan's Balochistan province is smuggled from Iran. So there is a flourishing barter trade, which is illicit, that is going on, despite the fact that barter trade was legalized between both regimes in 2023. And not to mention that there is conspicuous amounts of crystal meth that is also with other Afghan opiates, and that complicates the picture, as you can tell, which are passed between both borders of Iran and Pakistan. So you have an amalgam of terrorism and narcotics, with both regimes officially looking the other way when it suits them. And they keep trading charges, which is what I must iterate, that Pakistan maintains that the Baloch Liberation Army has sanctuary in what is Iran's Sistan-Baluchestan province, the very province in question where the Pakistanis were killed this Saturday past. And Iran concomitantly blames what is known as the Jaish-ul-Adl group, who are housed or putatively given sanctuary by the Pakistani deep state in Balochistan province of Pakistan. So it's a question of the pot calling the kettle black.
Yes, Berzin, I want to look at the current global instability that we are seeing. of course, conflicts going on across the world, closer as well to Iran. Iran involved potentially in conflicts as well. Looking at this extremism and the potential risk of it growing, do you think this is typical with the current geopolitical instability we're seeing, and what can be done to curb this sort of attack?
Both regimes come clean, Tehran and Islamabad, if they wish to dial down the separatists who are afforded refuge and even tacit support by the intelligence services and deep states in either country in order not to meddle in the affairs of each other. But as you asked pointedly about the situation which is tense in the region and is near abroad, well, in last January, 17 January 2024, as you know, Iran and its Revolutionary Guards launched 6 drone attacks and precision guided missiles into Pakistan's Balochistan that I just explained for your viewers, 50 kilometers from the Iran-Pak border into what is into Pakistan's Balochistan province, and there it targeted and killed the wives and children of the Jaish-ul-Adl group that I just mentioned to you. That is to say, the Baluchis who are creating havoc for the Iranian regime in Iran's Sistan-Baluchestan province by targeting Shia mosques and also killing IRGC Revolutionary Guard personnel, which is what they have been particularly known for since 2003. So that is when Iran did launch the said missiles into Pakistan. And this against the backdrop of the Hamas massacres and wars taking place. And Iran did that some hours after it had launched the said missiles into Syria's Idlib province and also Iraq's autonomous Kurdish region to target IS fighters. So you can say that Iran does feel encroached by others, and it's defending itself, which is what the Iran regime did after launching the said missiles. And please remember, when Iran launched the missiles on Pakistan in January 2024, it was when the Iranian foreign minister and the Pakistani acting prime minister were actually meeting in Davos. And what's more, it was simultaneously at the same time as the Iran and Pakistan navies were conducting joint friendly exercises in the northern Arabian Sea. So, be that as it may, it did not deter Iran from undertaking that, which it did. And then, of course, 48 hours later, Pakistan reciprocated by launching missiles, the Pakistan Air Force and Army, into Iran's Sistan-Baluchestan province. And then Foreign Minister Abdollahian flew into Pakistan to allay the situation and diffuse it as such. Pakistan recalled its ambassador from Tehran, but Iran physically refused him to let him leave for Islamabad too. So things were tense for a few days and weeks, and then they were, patched up, as it were. But patching up is no good because it's not cured, since nobody wants to tackle the question of Baloch separatists. And why are they deemed renegades? Because of poverty in the region. And that's not just another usual reaching out for the familiarity factor of poverty and terrorism. It's that the Baloch, as a persecuted ethno-linguistic minority, received both barrels from the regime in Tehran, which is bigoted and Shia, but also the regime in Islamabad, which is Sunni, like the Balochis, but Punjabi run and has treated them
Berzine,
shabbily.
I am extremely sorry to cut you off. We have unfortunately run out of time. Thank you very much for joining us. With that,